So welcome everyone to the talk of today. So it's Learning German as a Family. And we have with us Brigitte. She's the founder of WeLearnGerman.com and also a German language teaching expert, not just for kids, but for the whole family, which is very interesting and not so common to come across. And your focus is on families with young kids, 1 to 6 years old.
Thank you. Thank you, Rawiyah, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. As you said, it's not that common to come across someone who's interested in teaching children and parents. I started off teaching adults. And I'm a teacher trainer as well, and I've always found it interesting to get new ways of transmitting a language that I really love, German. And then I got kids myself. I got interested in the education of children and of small children. And in my case, I wanted to find a way how to give my kids the pleasure of learning a language, even though we are a multilingual household. And then at the same time, I followed a dream of mine and started studying elementary music education. So everything came together. My passion for teaching a language, for learning languages, and also the passion for music and me being a mom, a new mom. And then I searched on the internet on ways how to foster language learning, foreign language learning in small children in a fun way and in a way that they don't get, addicted to apps. Or I didn't want my children to learn how to use my smartphone. I wanted them to learn a language, and maybe also a language with me. And then I discovered that this doesn't exist for German, and started my program. So that's the whole story of how We Learn German came to life. And in my experience, there are many moms, maybe you can relate, who want to learn a language or want to learn something new, but everything they do, especially when they have small kids, has to be related to the kids as well, because otherwise you won't find time for it.
Yes, and I hear many moms complaining about what we call the brain hack. It's like your brain has been hacked once you have kids, and everything that you do has to revolve around them. And I think it's truly wonderful what you're doing, to be able to learn a language and involve them at the same time.
Especially when you have a language like German that you cannot easily relate, let's say as a Spanish or French speaker, there are not so many bridges that you can build to this language. With English it's a bit different, but especially at the beginning you need to learn a lot of things by heart, a lot of chunks, and you need to learn them, and then afterwards you can build your grammar knowledge. But what I've noticed with my students, people don't often go through that phase where they only learn by heart. And that's where the kids are so useful for us as the parents. I'm only talking about the parents' perspective at the moment, but we will come to the kids later. So it's so useful because especially small children, they love repetition. And they give us the chance to repeat the language even as a beginner and to really integrate it into our body so that we don't need to think about the cases or verb conjugation. We only do it well, because we've learned it with a rhyme, with a song, with a game.
That's very true, yes.
Yeah.
I think it gets much more interactive as well, right? If you're involving the kids.
That's the parents part. But the children, they get to know something very interesting too. At first they see that their parents are learning themselves I find this is a really big treasure. So that our children perceive us as learning beings.
Yes, we have to lead by example.
Yes, and so that they know. So my kids once said to their kindergarten teacher, "My mom, she like something like she's never finished learning.
I take that as a huge compliment.
She still goes to university. She's never finished." And you know, I think this example is so valuable to our kids. And then in a monolingual environment, they maybe hear some foreign words and cannot relate to it, but we can really open them the doors to a new world by just giving them the opportunity to learn a new language. And many people who come to me say that they have a personal relationship in some maybe they have spent some time in Germany, or they have family in Germany with whom they cannot talk. Yes, and the children, they have multiple benefits from being multilinguals. They are much more flexible. They are open to the new words. They learn that language learning can be fun and normal, and is not something that is limited to school. I know, Rawiyah, in your case, it's different. You have so many languages in the life of your kid. You might not feel the need to add another one. Good to give children a head start. You know, we know that young children they have much more time to learn a language. We need time in language learning. We cannot do it from one day to another. And their brain is much more flexible. Yeah, and what I said with grammar rules and pronunciation, etc., you can really give them the opportunity to learn things, to acquire something. So in language, in expert language, you make a difference between the acquisition of a language, which is the natural way, the non-formal way, and learning. So I'm using both, because in my case it's a mixture of learning and acquisition in the family. Yeah. So and maybe we've already talked a lot about how and about why. So I just want to give you some tips on how to start. This applies to all languages, not only German. If you want to start learning German with your kids and they are, let's say, about 2 or 3 years old already, or they enjoy reading books, for example, already in the language, start with books. So the cuddling time in the evening is a wonderful time where you can start building up vocabulary just by reading picture books and asking, wo ist das? Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? And for us as parents, it's wonderful to have picture books with the words below. That's what I'm doing also in English or in French. I use the ones that have my cheat sheet right below, so that I can I use the right words. There are some
very interesting. Yeah.
There are some like Tip Toy, for example, but there are other brands as well who come with a pen, so a speaking pen. So if you're not sure about the pronunciation, you can use the pen as a tool to help you with the pronunciation. So one of the brands that I know is called Tip Toy, and it's a special kind of books which they have a pen, and you can download audio files, and if you put the pen on a certain page, it will tell you what's on the page, and there are games as well. But the format of the book, it's not a tablet, it's not a cell phone, it's a smartphone, it's really a book. So that's what I like about those things. And some of my families, of the families that I'm working with, they really use those pens for as pronunciation helpers.
That could be very useful as a tool for learning.
Yeah, especially when you want to start and build up an understanding and vocabulary. So if you don't have a relative or anyone around speaking the language, so if it's really you starting a new language which is not spoken around you. So, and then this is the first part. The second part is you need to think of language learning as exercises. And when you compare it to sports, you know that it's better to do a short amount of time, some exercises every day, or let's say 4 times a week, than running 20 kilometers once a month. So what you do every day matters a lot. And there are some things that you can do. First of all, building up rituals. So use everyday routines, and we have loads of them when we are with small kids, like changing diapers, having meals together, cleaning up the floor, brushing your teeth, going to bed, singing lullabies. So take one routine and build a German learning ritual around it, or a language learning ritual around it. For example, one of the first things people learn in my courses is a song for brushing your teeth. Because children usually don't really like brushing their teeth, but when you come with something interesting, they start liking it or accepting it more. Sing it with your child, or have a short rhyme that makes it interesting. And you know, German pronunciation is much about ch, ch, sh, ch. That's why I like the toothbrushing song, because it starts like this: rich, ratch, rich, ratch, rich, ratch, rich, ratch. So you're training your pronunciation skills as a parent and your children, and you're imitating the sound the toothbrush makes in the mouth. Rich, ratch, rich, ratch, rich, ratch, rum. Yeah, and then you learn directions like above, below, in front, in the back. Yeah, when we're cleaning our teeth. The children won't judge you. You can learn that way together, and maybe it makes a situation during your day more fun. Another thing that you can start right away is saying something before you start your meal, saying a rhyme. Children usually do that in kindergarten or in daycare. They say a rhyme or something, and so that everyone knows now we're starting to eat. And we, for example, we do that too, because we don't want our children to start eating before everyone is set at the table, before everything's ready. We're all waiting for our rhyme. Yeah, and an easy one would be Brumm macht das Auto, Tschu macht der Zug, mir schmeckt das Essen richtig gut. So the car makes room, the train makes chew, and I really like your meal. And then guten Appetit, enjoy your meal. That's all. So it has to be simple. And when you start something like that, you have to be able to be consistent, because when it's something fancy, you might do it 3 times and then you don't have time. But if it's so short and simple, you are able actually to stick with it. So, and then it also gives you, it functions as a door opener. So when you say that rhyme in German, you might as well, when you feel ready, use other sentences right afterwards. Okay? Magst du was trinken? Ich trinke Wasser. Okay? So you can be in that way a multilingual family without having the pressure of knowing everything, without having additional appointments during the week, language courses, 1 hour there, 1 hour here. And you can just practice while being together and having also bonding time and quality time together.
During our last talk, we had Eloise, who's a child language acquisition PhD student. And there was a question from a participant. Her name was Biran, and she said that she's in the Netherlands, but they are actually from Turkey. And when she speaks Dutch with her son, her 4-year-old son, he's not very accepting of that. Like, finds it weird, and he's like, "Oh, mommy, why are you speaking like that?" He's not used to it. In your experience working with families, do you face this challenge as well?
Yeah. So
You do.
this is, and me as a mom as well. So this is very normal for a certain age. Usually when you start at a very young age, let's say at 1 year, or I have families who start even right away with when their kids are born. So babies don't ask themselves, what is my mommy doing now, speaking another language? But then there comes a time, let's say about 3 or 4, that children get resistant to this kind of experiment. And in my family, there were 2 things which helped. The younger sister. So I'm using, so we are, we don't have the aim to make our children fluent in English or French at home. We just want to give them the opportunity to learn some words and phrases as we have time. So we don't have, high-end goals. It's just, we want to get them in touch with many languages and explore things in other languages. So no pressure there. But my elder daughter then started hitting me when I spoke another language. And what I did then was first taking courses so that they see that other children, so online courses as well. I found a lady in French, French-speaking lady who is doing something similar to me. So my children during live classes see the other children, and they are interacting with the other children and with the teacher, not with me. So you have someone outside the family who shows your children that it's not only your idea, your strange idea, that this new language exists. So they have these real world connections. And the second thing is the younger sister. So Helena is 2 years old, and she's very open, especially she loves English. And she often asks me to sing a song, to do that rhyme, to do that game in English, to read the book in English. And then the elder one comes too and just participates in the activity. So this is very normal. You need to find a community outside your family. If you have some German or foreign language speaking play groups or something, then you're lucky. If you don't have it, you should try and find some kind of community online. Also for parents, it's very important because they often don't know what is normal. Do I need to worry about this or that? So they need a place to ask their questions.
And talking about that, you mentioned online. Do you experience any kind of resistance from the families to participate online? Did you ever encounter families who ask maybe if you do it in person instead of online? what is your experience?
And in my case, it's not possible because my families live all over the world. So if they want me to support them, it needs to be online. But what I have some families who say that they don't want screen time for their smaller kids. And usually when I propose activities to them, it's via a video, and then they get some cheat sheets or games, coloring things, puzzles, which they can print and do then with their children. And what parents do then is they prepare the activity. So they learn it by heart and then do it with their kids, or only listen to the activity. So they don't put the screen on, only the sound, and then do it with their child without the screen. That's possible too. And I know, so only having screen time without interaction is, I wouldn't say of no use, but it doesn't have that much of an effect on the children. So they need to be able to implement what they are seeing or hearing in a situation, in an interactive situation. And there the parents come in. They need to be the interaction partners. Yeah. And the activities that I show the parents that I'm working with, they are always aimed to have an interaction between parents and kids, and they always involve movement and other senses. So and that's what I'm doing with my children too. Sometimes I let them watch a video. I let them, of course, participate in online classes, because this is a different setting for me. Of course, it's in front of the screen, but they are interacting live with other people. Mm-hmm. So just as the difference, me watching a movie on Netflix and now talking to you, that's totally different.
Yes, of course.
We wouldn't compare it also for adults. Yeah. Screen time, and for the younger ones, I wouldn't also recommend it. You know, what really matters for the babies is the connection to their parents and to their caregivers, and through that you can introduce the language.
We have Daniel with us.
So my situation is I am married to an American, and I am bilingual German and English. And so I've been primarily speaking only German to my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old. My 4-year-old is grasping it perfect. I mean, he speaks to me really well in German, and he switches to English as soon as his dad comes home and speaks English with him. But I've noticed now he will only speak English to the 2-year-old, to my 2-year-old daughter. And I can remind him a million times that she speaks German, but he won't. So now she is constantly just reverting to English.
Yeah, okay.
She will not speak German. She will not say anything. All the phrases she uses are English phrases, and so I'm at a loss of what to do right now.
Okay. So reminding your son doesn't work. We agree on that. He just does what's coming natural to him.
Yes.
It feels more natural to him. Is he in kindergarten or daycare or something?
He's not yet. We actually live in an English community, so every single time he is around kids, they are all speaking English.
Yeah.
We will be moving to Germany soon, though, so hopefully we'll be able to place him into a German kindergarten, and all that will change.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure this will change in an instant, and also for your younger daughter, this will change when you come to a German-speaking environment where children are involved. So the only way he knows that children approach each other is in English.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're an adult, you're his mom, and he notices that there's no other source of, so there's no other German-speaking kid around. So reminding him doesn't work, because this is, our adult way of approaching it. What I can tell you for now is use as many only German related toys, for example. Maybe have some teddy bears who only speak German, name them German names, and use some signals around the house or rituals around the house where German is more dominant. And another question: does your husband speak German?
He does not. He can speak as much as the kids do. So he has learned along with the kids. He knows, little phrases, and how to go brush your teeth or go upstairs or things like that.
Mm-hmm. So when you intend to move to Germany, he might learn German as well. So maybe you could invite him as well to get into a learning process where you, for example, learn how to play one specific game in German. Maybe you like to play Uno with your elder son, or you play memory with him, or he loves to play Legos. So try and have one situation where your husband is also speaking German and learning some specific phrases. Maybe you have something in your family, or maybe that could help so that the whole environment is German speaking. It's just a hint. Yeah. And then, do you have relatives in Germany or German speaking relatives that you could play a game with online?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so maybe you have cousins or friends who have children the same age. You could meet up and give them something to do. Maybe small, like scavenger hunts, where they show each other something that they have around the house. So get them not only to sit in front of the computer and stare at each other, but let them tell each other something. Show you the favorite toys, or let's read a book together online. That works very well online as well. So this is another way of bringing German-speaking speakers more into your life. And as to your little daughter, I think that her reaction is very normal too. She doesn't feel the need to speak German. And there it might also help that you have more rituals where the whole family is involved in German. Do you sing a lot?
No. I should start singing more.
But what really is a powerful tool that children start practicing the language is through songs. Songs combined with movement, and songs also combined with actions. So, das ist groß und das ist klein, das ist dick und das ist dünn, das ist meine Nase, das sind meine Ohren. So usually 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds are really into action songs. So that way you could get her to produce language, and then maybe she will find her way to speaking a bit as well.
You have these very interesting, fun, interactive, super exciting activity days.
Usually people start with small interactions. So as I've already told you, there's the toothbrushing song involved, a lullaby. Then they learn to say their first phrases with with a song that we always use when we meet for classes. So a hello song and a goodbye song. We also do a clapping games like this. Yeah. Ich bin ich und du bist du. Something like that. An action song with clapping and stamping and turning around, etc. So if there are two ways of having more information from me and having more the practical things. So the first one is, if you're watching right now, you can come to my course, which starts on Friday. So you can still jump in and get your spot there. It's a 4-week starter course for people that want to start introducing German in their daily life.
And is it on your website?
WeLearnGerman.com. Usually I do also season-related courses or mini events that people can participate in. And there, of course, there are continuous courses all around the year. And what I want to offer your listeners as a small gift is my activity days. You can just try if these kind of activities work for you and your family. And it's WeLearnGerman.com/mom-life. There you find the access to my 5-part activity series.
Oh, that's awesome. I have to give a shout out on our social media now.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
Head over there right now.
If you want to introduce German in your daily life, and if you want to see if that kind of approach works for you, this is really your way to go. Introducing more languages to your family is really rewarding, because I notice with my kids that they are building up connections between the languages, that they start recognizing words in one and in the other language, similarities, differences, and this can really be a wonderful start for them as multilinguals. But if you do it the right way, it can also increase your quality time as a family, and that's a valuable gift too.
You mentioned that you normally work with families with young children from 1 to 6, but you did mention that you have some families who contact you right after birth as well. Do you consider working with younger children as well? Below 1?
So in my courses, there's always a baby corner with activities and things to do for the smaller children. And mostly when people come to me with babies, they start with that. And don't come to children classes so regularly, because the children don't get a lot out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So they start out with that, and then they go on. There are also elder children, so 5, 6, where parents say they love the approach and the children react positively to the materials that I'm giving them, and they just start learning German that way without pressure, and maybe also preparing them for school when they start learning German afterwards.